They don't like using guns because knives are more painful. They sliced them up into pieces, killed them both, and then went about playing and doing whatever the hell they were doing. And ICE went in and grabbed them and got them. And they wished they didn't do that to those two young girls. They were walking to school, two beautiful, perfect young girls walking to school. They got knifed to death, both of them, cut up. And we got to get these animals out of here fast. It's only going to be worse. And to do so, I have to go back a long way because, that's when they ran a little tougher country. And nowadays, everything's so politically correct. They fight harder for the criminal than they do for the people that have been murdered, killed. These stupid politicians. I will invoke the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. Can you believe that? To go back that far. To target and dismantle every migrant criminal network operating on American soil. Can you imagine having to go back to 1798? And if they come back into our country, it's an automatic 10 years in jail with no possibility of parole. And I'm hereby calling for the death penalty for any migrant that kills an American citizen or a law enforcement officer. Thank you. I will end catch and release. We had a policy called Remain in Mexico. People think that was easy to get. That was so good. They ended it immediately. I will end all migrant flights. I will outlaw sanctuary cities, which is a place where they give criminals sanctuary. I will immediately ask Congress for funding to hire 10,000 new border agents and to approve a 10% raise for existing agents and a $10,000 retention and signing bonus. We're doing it. They've been treated unfairly. And I will ban all welfare and federal benefits from illegal aliens, and they won't come anymore. They won't come. And in yet another incoherent train wreck of a television interview yesterday, Kamala Harris stated once again that she opposes any plan to send her illegal aliens back home. She opposes deport. I don't think she knew what the hell she was saying, I actually saw it. I said, I think she must have misunderstood. She'll say, I didn't understand the question. She's a low IQ individual, I'm telling you. I'm good at this stuff. She's a low IQ person. She opposes deportations. Can you believe it? She doesn't want them, Sheriff. She doesn't want them deported. We have a man over here, one of the greats of all time. Stand up, Joe. Stand up. One of the great of all time. Stand up. He didn't play games at the border. Sheriff Joe. He didn't play games. He's a great one. We miss his wife. We miss his wife. She died a couple of years ago. We miss her. She loved this guy. Can you imagine she was in love with him like crazy? Who the hell could love him? But you know what? He got the job done. He got that job done, right? No games. And he did it fairly. Thank you very much for being here. It's very nice. I didn't know you were going to be here. It's appropriate that you're here, frankly. You know that. He did a real job. You didn't have the problems that you have today, the day that just walk in. You got those weak politicians, those pathetic politicians. And by the way, speaking of non-weak, I really hope you're going to go out and vote for Carrie Lake. Senate. Where is she? Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Karen. Good luck. And you know what I want you to do now? Get up and go to that television show. She's doing Laura Ingraham, and Laura Ingraham has been great. And we want you to do great. You go ahead. The whole place, we're going to clap as you leave. Go ahead. Come on. Sheriff Joe. Thank you, Karen. Great job. Thank you. Thank you, fella. She's terrific. You know, we had a deal. I was going to introduce her, but I was going to just sort of let her face. I said, isn't it better if we just say, because she has to do a big show, actually, with Laura. Laura's been great, too, as you know. And so I said, rather than have her sort of like try and avoid, I said, go out to wonderful applause. And somehow, Sheriff Joe, I think that worked out pretty good, right? Huh? But he's never leaving us this one here. And Kamala supports mass amnesty and citizenship for the human tidal wave. And she's brought it to us. It's going to come crashing down like you've never seen. This tidal wave, we're going to break this tidal wave. We're going to end it fast, or we're going to have our country back again. Every Arizona senior needs to know that Kamala's plan for mass amnesty will obliterate Medicare and Social Security. They want to put these people on Social Security and Medicare, and that's going to sink those two things. Whereas I'm saving them, and I'm not raising the age like they will have to do. I'm not raising, you'll never see me raise the age. We have liquid gold. We have so much wealth in this country. We have so much. We don't have to play around with Social Security like they want to do. They're going to destroy your Social Security among our country. They're going to destroy our country. So that's the whole ballgame. If you want your Medicare looted by 21 million illegal aliens until there's nothing left, and by the way, if they ever got in, the border will be immediately opened, and you'll have 200 million people come in here. You'll have 200 million, and there will be no fracking, Pennsylvania. There will be no fracking. There will be no nothing. We'll have a country that will be a disgrace and an embarrassment. Nobody will even know. It'll happen so fast. It can happen fast. Look at Venezuela. 15 years ago, Venezuela was a thriving, incredible country, and now the people can't get a bottle of water. If you want to save Medicare and save Social Security, you must vote for a gentleman named Donald J. Trump. Have you heard of him? You know, it's an amazing stat, but virtually 100% of the net job creation in the last year, you know who it's gone to? Migrants. They're creating jobs. I didn't believe it. I actually have that. Andy Biggs, I had to have that number checked, and I was right. The jobs are going to people that are pouring in. This border invasion of millions of people pouring in is causing a job crisis for Black and Hispanic population. That's what's happening. Hispanic and Black are losing their jobs because of this. And it makes sense. You got millions of people pouring in, people that have had their job, that have done a job for years. They're losing their job. And it started with the Black and the Hispanic populations. And we're just not going to let it all happen. It's so disgraceful. They don't want to show you all of the jobs that the Black and Hispanic people are losing because they want to wait till after the election. But I've seen numbers. And when you see those numbers, the election's going to be over probably, although 818,000 jobs were fraudulently put on the rolls by these guys, by these crooked guys in Washington. They lied and cheated. They said we had 818,000 jobs. And we had a whistleblower because they wanted to revise it after the election. And we had a whistleblower. And I wonder whoever the hell that whistleblower was. Thank you very much, whistleblower. We appreciate it. Think of that. Even after all of the pain and suffering that she's caused, when Kamala was asked if she would do anything differently, she said that she wouldn't change not one thing. Let's watch. It's pretty brutal, isn't it? Isn't it unbelievable? So, Arizona, if you want to end this disaster, you must get out and vote. You have to vote. We're not playing games. So, got to do it. And Jane, your husband sitting on the sofa, watching something. He doesn't even know what he's watching. Tell him, Jimmy, get up. You're getting up, Jimmy. Let's go. Let's go, Jimmy. I'm not going to use foul language. Get your fat ass out of the couch. You're going to vote, Jimmy. You're going to vote. We're going to save our country, Jimmy. We're going to save our country. Now, you got to go vote. We're pleased to be joined by a couple of really great people, two senators. They get it. They really get it. And they're warriors. Marco Rubio and Mike Lee. Thank you, Marco. Thank you, Mike. Thank you. Two great guys, and they are warriors, too. Representatives Eli Crane and Andy Biggs. Thank you. Thank you, fellas. Thank you, Eli. Thank you. Congressional candidate doing really well, Kelly Cooper, who is my complete and total endorsement, and so do these guys. They all have my endorsement. Everybody I've named, including Sheriff Joe, has my endorsement. Arizona GOP chairwoman, and this woman has done a job, and especially, well, it's early voting, and we are doing record successful numbers, and I think it's going to stay that way. Gina Swoboda, where's Gina? She is doing a job. Thank you, Gina. Thank you, honey. Great job. You going to keep it going? Okay, thank you. Wow, this is a big guy. President of Arizona State University, college Republicans, Carson Carpenter. Thank you. He's done a fantastic job. Young guy. Look, a young guy, huh? He'll be up here someday. Thank you very much, Carson. And Gold Star mom, Alicia Lopez, mother of fallen Marine Corporal Hunter Lopez, who lost his life in the failed withdrawal from Afghanistan. Thanks. We want to thank you, Alicia, and we will never forget Hunter. Where is Alicia? Thank you. Thank you, darling, very much. Thank you very much. I've gotten to know so many people from that horrible event, the most embarrassing, horrible event in the history of our country. Because of that event, Putin went into Ukraine. That Afghanistan event was such a disgrace, and it would have never happened. We would have kept Bagram. We wouldn't have taken the soldiers out first. We wouldn't have given them anything. Billions and billions of dollars of equipment, 13 dead. Think of it, 13 dead, but so many horrifically wounded with the arms and the legs, the whole thing. Nobody ever mentions them. I mention them all the time because they're sitting home right now. They're suffering. And it should have never, ever happened. And Putin, think of this. Putin sat back, and President Xi of China and all of them, and they looked back and they said, oh, the U.S. must be a paper tiger. Putin would have never, ever gone in. No chance. It wouldn't have happened. No chance. I spoke to him about it. It was the apple of his eye. I will tell you that. Ukraine was the apple of his eye. But he would have never gone in. And he understands that. And to think of what's happened. And now you look at Ukraine. So many people have died. Those beautiful old cities, those magnificent golden domes are laying down, smashed to smithereens on their sides. You can ever rebuild that? You're not going to rebuild that. They lost their whole culture. For that to have happened, you could have stopped that so easily, Joe. You didn't know what the hell you were doing or saying, Joe. What a shame. What a different country we would have had. Think of it. You wouldn't have inflation. You wouldn't have had and we were getting out of Afghanistan. I spoke to Abdul. He was the head of the Taliban. They said, where did you speak to him? I said, because that's where the death is. He was the one. And for 18 months, we didn't lose one soldier in Afghanistan. Think of it. 18 months, right? And then these stupid people took over. And we lost those beautiful soldiers. Most importantly, we lost. And other people, many people were killed that day, many people. People that were from Afghanistan, many people. It was horrific. But so much death and so unnecessary. But think of it, that wouldn't have happened. We would have been out, but we would have been out with dignity and pride. We would have kept Bagram, the big air base, one of the biggest air bases in the world. We built it many years ago for billions of dollars, and it was 1 hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons, and we would have kept it for that reason. We were expecting to keep it, but they left there too. They turned off the lights and they left, although a lot of those lights were left on, I believe. And they didn't take the dogs, by the way. A lot of people say, did they take the dogs? They had these great German Shepherd dogs. No, they didn't take the dogs. It's such a horrible thing that happened, and in a short period of time. So you had that, and then you had Russia going into Ukraine. You have President Xi looking very strongly at Taiwan. You know that. He's been looking, he's been savoring. He's been licking his chops on that one, right? And you had October 7th with Israel. Would have never happened. That would have never, all those people killed, it would have never happened. None of it would have happened. We would have been a whole different world right now. We would have been the world that Viktor Orban talks about. He said he's the head of Hungary, strong person, very strong leader. He said this would have never happened if Trump were the president of the United States. So, but we'll fix it. We'll fix it. We'll get it fixed. Also with us is Kristen Coolidge, the widow of Phoenix police officer Zane Coolidge, who was shot and killed last month in the line of duty, leaving behind his wife and his beautiful 5-month-old daughter. I just met them in backstage also. Could you stand up, wherever you may be? Oh, that's so beautiful. Thank you. And Kristen, your husband was a true hero. They know him so well over here. Everybody knew exactly who I was talking about. And it was wonderful to meet you, but I'm so sorry for what happened. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Thank you, Mom. So we grieve with you, and we stand with you, and we're going to stand with everybody that we just introduced you to. But these are things that would have never happened with proper government, with people that knew what they were doing, with maybe a little bit of toughness. I guess that's okay, right? Maybe a little bit of toughness and a lot of common sense. These things would have never happened, and these wonderful people would be alive today. Under my administration, we will once again give our police and law enforcement heroes the support, resources, protection, and respect that they so dearly deserve. Right? We're going to bring back law and order to America. Our country is going to hell. We'll rapidly build the greatest economy in history. I will pass historic tax cuts for workers and small businesses, including no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security benefits for our seniors. No tax. And I will terminate Kamala's insane electric vehicle mandate, and we will end the Green New Scam. Trillions and trillions of dollars being wasted on the Green New Scam. We're going to have the cleanest water of anybody. We had 4 years. We had the record, clean water, clean air. But it's a Green New Scam. I will make interest on car loans fully tax deductible, but only for cars made in America. Thank you. And to a large degree, the reason I just came up with that idea, people are calling me these geniuses from Wall Street. What a great idea that was. How did you think of that? I always say the paperclip. 129 years ago, the paperclip, somebody looked at it and said, why didn't I think of this? Somebody got very rich. Because affording a car is essential to restoring the American dream. We're going to have those cars made in Detroit. They're going to be made all over Michigan. We might even have a couple made here, but who knows? We're going to make plenty of other things here. We will quickly become energy independent, and we will frack, 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 and drill, baby, drill. We're going to frack, 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 drill, baby, drill. And in conclusion, with your vote this November, we are going to fire Kamala Harris. We're going to fire her. Get the hell. We're going to fire Kamala. We're going to get her out of here. Honestly, you had to see it last night to believe it. People, even reporters spoke to me today. They said, we can't believe it. It's hard for them to justify, they're all controlled by the left. They're controlled by the left, totally controlled. I don't know what the hell. We have to free the reporters up because I know some of them. They're good people. We have to free them up. We have to free them from the left. And we're going to save America. With your support, we will end inflation, slash your prices, raise your wages, and bring thousands of factories back to America. And really, a lot of factories are coming right back here to Arizona, where they were taken from you. We will build American, we will buy American, and we will hire American. I will end the war in Ukraine. I will get it stopped very quickly. I will stop the chaos in the Middle East, and I will prevent World War III. And we're very close to World War III right now. And we will build a massive missile defense shield to protect us. We want protection too, don't we? And it's going to be made in the USA, a lot of it right here. And we will land an American astronaut on Mars. Thank you, Elon. Thank you. Get going, Elon. Get that spaceship going, Elon. By the way, how good is Elon Musk? Well, we're having a good time here today in this beautiful arena. This is a beautiful arena, nice 72 degrees, everything. Elon is campaigning in Pennsylvania, and he's really working hard. Elon Musk, between rocket ships, you ever see a rocket ship come down so beautifully like that? I said, why did you do that, Elon? He said, because I want to save the ship. It costs like $1 billion to build. I said, can anybody else do that? No. The rest of them, they drop them into the ocean. They start all over again. No, this guy's great. And he did us a bigger favor right now. He gave us the Starlink. Does anybody know Starlink? He gave us Starlink in North Carolina, some in Georgia, some of the areas that were hit by that horrible hurricane. And somebody from North Carolina said, do you know Elon Musk? I said, yes. How good was his endorsement? I mean, his endorsement just kept coming and coming. He said that we will not have a country if we don't win this election. And he is a smart cookie. In fact, he was over with us last couple of weeks over in Pennsylvania in Butler. And he saw something that he's, with all the rockets and Starlinks and everything else, he said, I've never seen anything like it. We had 101,000 people, and it was incredible. Honoring a wonderful man, Corey, firefighter, and it was a beautiful, beautiful evening. It's a beautiful evening. But Elon got Starlink, and he said, the gentleman from North Carolina, one of the officials, said to me, is it possible for you to get him to get us Starlink? I said, I can try. What's Starlink? And he told me it's communication, a form of communication that's very good, but hard to get. And I called Elon, and he sent it immediately. Hundreds of adapters, sent them immediately. And I think he saved a lot of lives. So thank you, Elon Musk, right? Thank you. Good job. We will rebuild our cities, including our capital in Washington, D.C., making them safe, clean, and beautiful again. We will teach our children to love our country, to honor our history, and to always respect our great American flag. We will get critical race theory and transgender insanity. We're going to get them the hell out of our schools immediately, right? And something I'm always embarrassed to even have to say, it's so crazy. We will keep men out of women's sports. Can you believe it? Who would have thought you have to say that? How about the other good one is parental? We will give parents the rights to watch over their child. I mean, the school boards. No, I mean, I have things that I say that 10 years ago would have been like, who would ever think of it? We will keep men out of women's sports. It's crazy, right? It's crazy. I will defend religious liberty, I will restore free speech, and I will defend the right to keep and bear arms, our Second Amendment. Right? After years of building up foreign nations, defending foreign borders, and protecting foreign lands, we are finally going to build up our country. We are going to defend our borders, and we are going to protect our citizens. We will stop all illegal immigration once and for all and at once. We will stop it immediately. We will not be occupied. We will not be conquered. We will be a free and proud nation once again. Everyone will prosper, every family will thrive, and every day will be filled with opportunity, hope, and filled with the American dream again. We're bringing back the American dream. That's what we're going to do. But for that to happen, we must defeat Kamala Harris and stop her radical left agenda with a landslide that is simply too big to rig. And we're doing that. We're doing that. We're doing that. If these numbers hold up, and they probably will, I mean, why wouldn't they? Who the hell wants these people in office? It's crazy. But the numbers are the biggest anyone's ever seen. Even the fake news says that. It's pretty amazing. But we want to wait, and we're watching very studiously. Early voting is underway. Get everyone you know and vote. Just get up, get your friends, say, get over here, you're going to vote. After all we have been through together, we stand on the verge of the 4 greatest years of the history of our country. With your help from now until Election Day, 12 days, is that so much to ask? 12 days. We will redeem America's promise. We will put America first, and we will take back the nation that we love. We're going to take it back from these people that have no idea what they're doing. We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. And we're going to remember God. They don't want to remember God. We will never give in. We will never give up. We will never back down, and we will never, ever surrender. Together, we will fight, 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 and win, win, win. November 5th will be the most important day in the history of our country, and together we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America healthy again. Bobby Kennedy. We will make America strong again. Oh, we're going to be strong. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you, Arizona. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. God bless you.
All right, we've been listening to Donald Trump here on the Hill, here on News Nation, as he spoke there for about an hour or so in the state of Arizona. There are 2 stops for him tonight, Arizona, and then he heads over to Nevada. It is an absolutely fascinating night of politics. Donald Trump, there you go, top right of the screen, you know the dance to YMCA. Bottom right of your screen, what is going to happen in about an hour or so? Donald Trump's predecessor, Barack Obama, out on the campaign trail, standing shoulder to shoulder to Donald Trump's opponent, Kamala Harris, in Atlanta, Georgia, Clarkston, just outside of Atlanta. Those three really, out on the trail tonight. And oh, by the way, here on News Nation, as you see there, 1 hour, 28 minutes, and 27 seconds from now, J.D. Vance, Town Hall. J.D. Vance, Chris Cuomo, here on News Nation. A little bit of reaction here on the Hill. Thanks for being with us tonight. I'm Blake Berman. Joining me now, Linda Tran, former senior advisor to the Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg. Julia Manchester, national political reporter for The Hill. Bob Cusack, editor-in-chief of The Hill. Lauren Wright, News Nation contributor, professor at Princeton University. Hello to you all.
Hello. Hey.
That was quite the hour for Donald Trump. Let me start with you, Bob. I think I set the table there. What a night in politics. You've got Barack Obama with Kamala Harris, Donald Trump in Nevada and in Arizona.
Yep.
J.D. Vance Town Hall here in 90 minutes or so.
I mean, this is the home stretch. This race can be won by either side. Trump has the momentum. There's no doubt. I think he came across as very confident. Talked about immigration in Arizona. Gave a little shout out to Kari Lake, who's running for the Senate. Didn't bring her on stage. She's struggling in the polls. But this is obviously a battleground state. Listen, and Trump did his usual thing. He was talking about the invention of the paperclip, and as well as
there was some
immigration
paperclip policy.
Tonight,
12 days to go. Okay,
but he does seem confident, and there's reason he should be, but not cocky.
Yeah, we were talking about this before. For those of us who have covered Donald Trump from day one, you can watch him and see that he is confident. Should he be? Is another question.
You know, look, I think Bob has it right. He's confident, but he shouldn't be cocky because, look, we see movement in the polls towards him, but it's all within the margin of error.
Yeah.
It is so tight. And I want us to ignore the national polls for a minute and look at the 7 key battleground states. He is leading in Georgia, I think, tied in North Carolina, according to the latest Marist polling. Out in Arizona, I think it's very much neck and neck. So he's certainly improved his standing, and there is certainly a softening of the Democratic base. We've talked about young Latino and black men, young men in general. But at the same time, Donald Trump cannot take his eye off the ball at this point.
So as Trump walks off the stage in Arizona, let us take you down to the southeast in Georgia and show you the live picture there, because that is going to be quite the scene in that state. You can see there, live look in Georgia tonight. Linda, Barack Obama, Kamala Harris, side by side for the first time. What does he need to do for her tonight? Because there are real questions in that state and where she stands, and real questions about her and the black vote.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the reason you have seen both Barack Hussein Obama and Michelle Obama out on the campaign trail so much over the most recent days. And Barack Obama in particular, we have seen made a very strong appeal to black male voters with whom we know that there's been some lost ground and that the Harris campaign is concerned about. They are deploying the most popular figure in the Democratic Party, and they are doing it with precision. The second most.
Michelle Obama.
Michelle Obama.
And that comes this weekend, right?
That is true.
In the state of
one
Michigan.
of the most, and I'm sure he has no problem being second fiddle.
Yeah, no, of course. You know, Barack Obama, Lauren, has been trying to assist and help Kamala Harris down the home stretch here. We've seen almost as much of him as we have of her. And I wonder if that strategy is the right one down the home stretch.
Well, I do think it's the right one to have a very popular former president stumping for you who gets a bigger audience than almost anyone except for his wife every time. I do think his message to black men was controversial, and I think it alienated a lot of people. There are a lot of reasons why black men and lots of different groups of voters are thinking about Trump besides sexism. I mean, I didn't really understand that. I consider him to be one of the most tactful, thoughtful politicians of our time. And I think that missed the mark a little bit.
Is there a risk of having him out there more or as much as her? Because at the end of the day, this is going to be about her and her making the case to bring those final voters home.
I think Barack Obama gets the Democratic Party extremely excited. And you heard Julia talking about how close the polls are in Georgia and across the battleground states, and every single vote is going to matter. So if Barack Obama turns out that black male voter or a woman voter or somebody who remembers his presidency and would like to see a return, that's a good thing for the Democratic Party.
We're going to get into the strategy here of Kamala Harris later in the show, but Bob, we were discussing this election, and I'll give you the last word here before we head to break. This election could very well be about Donald Trump, known commodity for 10 years. Whether you love him or hate him, you know him, he's Donald Trump. She's been the candidate for, 3 months, give or take? And is it incumbent upon her down the home stretch to get those voters who say, I'm not sure, I don't know, but make sure that they get to the polls.
Yeah, it totally is. And to the Obama point, yes, the Obamas can help, but at the same time, she's got to win this thing, and she's got to let her guard down. She has not done that. These media interviews, this media blitz has not worked for her.
All right. Big night of politics here on the Hill as we keep our eyes on Georgia. Donald Trump just live there for an hour in Arizona. I'm Blake Berman. Thanks for being with us. Welcome to Washington. The Hill, back in a few. All right, welcome back here to the Hill on NewsNation on what is turning into be a big night of politics. In Georgia, Barack Obama and Kamala Harris live later next hour. We just heard from Donald Trump for about an hour. And in the 8 o'clock hour here on the East Coast, our NewsNation Town Hall, J.D. Vance, Chris Cuomo, that is in about 1 hour and 18 minutes from now. Our Robert Sherman is out on the trail tonight with the very latest. Robert?
Hey there, Blake. Big night tonight and a big night in a key battleground state of Michigan where both of these campaigns have put such a premium on trying to lock up those undecided voters that are still out there to score the 15 electoral votes that are up for grabs. Our own Chris Cuomo sitting down with J.D. Vance in front of a live studio audience. Republicans, Democrats, independents, cutting through the political noise and focusing on the issues that matter most to them. Here's a preview of what you can expect tonight.
This is my most important advice. Whether you vote for me, whether you vote for Donald Trump, whether you vote for Kamala Harris, don't cast aside family members and lifelong friendships. Politics is not worth it. And I think if we follow that principle, we'll heal the divide in this country.
Here's the reality, Blake. The clock is ticking to make that final pitch to voters. That is especially the case here in Michigan, in which early voting goes live across the state Saturday. So this town hall here with Senator J.D. Vance, one of those last opportunities to make that case. Blake?
All right, Robert Sherman live for us tonight in Michigan with the beautiful backdrop behind him. Robert, thank you. Again, the NewsNation Town Hall with J.D. Vance, 8 o'clock Eastern, right here on NewsNation. The senator from Ohio, the Republican vice presidential candidate, and our Chris Cuomo, 1 hour and 17 minutes from now. We will also stream it, by the way, on X. All right, over to the vice president, Kamala Harris, as there is now a clear strategy for her in the home stretch, one that started to play out in the recent days. A poll released by the Wall Street Journal highlights where this country is at this moment, at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, and what they think about issue number one as well. Let me walk you through some of it. Only 45% of the country views the vice president favorably. She's underwater in that Wall Street Journal poll by 8 points, and she won't distance herself from the president, whose favorability numbers are worse, only at 40%, underwater by 17 points. Now, you know the old saying in elections, we've said it time and time and time again here. We will see if it's right this go around. Quote, "It's the economy, stupid," end quote. So let me take you through the numbers on the economy, again, in this Wall Street Journal poll. Right now, the economy and inflation still rank as the number one issue in the election. Combine those two, it's at 31%. As you can see there, ahead of immigration, abortion, democracy, the only others that hit double digits in that poll. So what does the American public think of the economy right now? You could throw away every chart, stat, report, whatever you've seen. The data, the numbers, they might be right, but here is what the American electorate says they believe, what they feel at this moment in time. When asked, what has increased more in the recent years, your income or prices? It's not even close. Look at those numbers. 78% say it's everyday goods and services, while just 5% say their household income has risen more. Translation, inflation won. And when asked right now, is the economy getting worse or is it getting better? 47% say it is getting worse, 13 points more than those who say it's getting better. By the way, 45% of the respondents in that poll say, keep this in mind here, they make $100,000 or less. So what have we seen from the vice president in the recent days? She is attacking Donald Trump's character, trying to paint him as a fascist. Whether you believe he is or isn't, that is your call to make. That is your decision. You can think one way or another. But this is very much her final message with all of what I just laid out as the backdrop. For example, she used this line right here for the second day in a row.
Either you have the choice of a Donald Trump who will sit in the Oval Office, stewing, plotting revenge, retribution, writing out his enemies list, or what I will be doing, which is responding to folks like the folks last night with a to-do list.
So the vice president is going to try to make the case that Donald Trump is morally broken. Trump will make the case that she helped break the economy and the border. And that is sort of the state of play here with 12 days to go. Mick Mulvaney, NewsNation contributor, former White House chief of staff to Donald Trump. Thank you for waiting patiently, sir. Hello, good evening to you. Come on in. Did I miss anything there? What did I get wrong?
No, it's not the first time I've waited on Donald Trump. I've done that a lot. So.
What about?
No, you didn't miss anything. Look,
what about
if this is her closing argument, then I think if Kamala Harris loses, it's going to be because this is the closing argument. You put that number back up again if you want to. You just saw 10% of the country thinks democracy, whatever that means, is the number one issue. My guess is 99.9% of those people are Democrats. They're already voting for Kamala Harris anyway. I just get the feeling that the Democrats are talking about the wrong issues too late in the game. And I'm also hearing Democrats say the same thing. You're hearing Mike Halperin, you're David Axelrod saying, look, she's talking about the wrong issues. They have to change her message. If she loses, it's going to be because, number one, she's not able to explain to people what she wants to do. And instead, number two, she's talking about the other guy too much. Keep in mind her biggest weakness. People don't seem to know enough about her to make a decision, and she's not helping solve that problem.
Mick, hang with us here for a second, as I've been telling you since we came on air about 17 minutes ago. What a night in politics, and you can see just some of it down there in Georgia as the boss. Bruce Springsteen.
You're going to kick me off for Bruce Springsteen. Is that what this is all about?
Sorry, Mulvaney. I just told you to hang around here for a second. Mick, hang with us. What about it, though, Linda? As I just laid all of that out there, how do you win an election? And this is not for a Republican, for a Democrat. When you're an incumbent, your favorability rating is underwater. The country says the economy isn't working for them, and the opponent is trusted more on the economy.
Look, I hear what Mick is saying, but I do think the vice president has been laying out a vision for what she thinks could help strengthen the economy. What I hear, though, in this final push, and she said she's going to be laying out her final pitch next Tuesday, what I hear is that she really firmly believes this is a turnout election. And she wants to remind her people that they've got to turn out, they got to grab their mom, their dad, their sister, their brother, and people need to get to the polls. She's trying to get them excited, the base excited, to make sure they turn out.
The problem is, even if you look at polling among Democrats, they think the economy is the biggest issue. They're also part of the group that has $1 trillion in credit card debt and went into debt to have to pay for groceries. I mean, Democrats and independents are really angry too.
So what if all of that...
And so it does not translate to success.
What if much of that is wrong and abortion, the first presidential election post-Dobbs, is bigger than anyone believes?
I mean, I have said many times, I think abortion's a losing issue for Republicans. It's very clear when it's the only issue on the ballot or voters have a chance to directly evaluate it, that Republicans lose and Democrats win. The problem is it's a list of issues and abortion is not at the top. Democracy is nowhere near the top. And by the way, part of that 10% is Republicans who think Kamala Harris is a threat to democracy. The biggest mistake, in my opinion, the Harris campaign has made has been framing Trump as a threat to democracy without defining it. Vance and Trump have flipped it around, and people simply don't care as much as they do about their day-to-day lives.
So Kamala Harris is going to Texas on Friday.
Right.
She's going to speak from the Ellipse on Tuesday. Mm-hmm. She's doubling down on this.
She's absolutely doubling down.
And you have to wonder if that's sort of her only choice at this point in time to take that path.
Right. I think what you're seeing Democrats, Kamala Harris, do right now is they've seen that abortion has been successful for them in the past. In 2020, such a successful issue. In the 2023 off-year elections in Virginia, very successful. I think the difference here 2 years later, though, is that it's sunken in for a lot of people. I think at the state level and some of these statewide races, sure, it's definitely a winning issue. I think at the presidential level, I think there's certainly room for Democrats Democrats to campaign on that and to gain ground on that, but it's not the only issue, and we're just seeing that the economy continues to really trumpet.
You think she needs to let it rip? You have your smart takeout in your
morning newsletter.
Your morning newsletter. You basically said she's got to go for it,
and she's not been going for it. She's been way too cautious. We saw that in the CNN town hall. And listen, Democrats have been criticizing Trump for a decade. They get it. They've heard it. She really needs. That's not going to get independents off the couch and vote for her. She's got to make the case of why people are voting for her, not against him.
All right, Mick, hang by here for a second because I want to get you on this. Hunter Biden, does he have a new ally in Donald Trump? In a radio interview today, the former president was asked whether he would consider pardoning President Biden's son, who was found guilty of lying to an application to purchase a firearm and has pled guilty to 9 federal tax charges. Here was Donald Trump about Hunter Biden earlier today on the Hugh Hewitt radio show.
Will you pardon Hunter Biden?
I wouldn't take it off the books. See, unlike Joe Biden, despite what they've done to me, they've gone after me so viciously, despite what, and Hunter's a bad boy. There's no question about it. He's been a bad boy. All you have to do is see the laptop from hell. But I happen to think it's very bad for the country.
Mick, decode that for me because I didn't get a straight answer there. If he's talking about I wouldn't take that off the books, is he talking about a possible commutation? What's Trump saying there?
Yeah, I absolutely, I believe every single word of that. I think that's absolutely on the table for a future Trump administration. He doesn't like lawfare. He really doesn't. And keep in mind, Hunter's offenses, the tax stuff, is relatively minor. It's relatively benign. The gun charge is relatively benign. So it's not like you'd be letting a pedophile go or something like that. So no, I absolutely believe this is on the table for Trump, and it would be a very Trump thing to do in the next term.
You know what's fascinating about this is Democrats came out today, a couple of them high-ranking here in Washington, and basically said it might be time to look into Jared Kushner.
Yeah.
So you had Hunter Biden in the news today, Jared Kushner in the news today, and you wonder if that's where all that goes.
No, yeah, they're positioning themselves. I mean, look, Jared Kushner was a target of Democrats, in the past, not to this extent, but in the past, certainly nepotism and, sort of that pushback from them. So I'm not surprised that there's...
Where does this go?
Well, he's not going to be able to pardon Hunter Biden because Joe Biden's going to do it
before the election?
Yes, even though Biden has repeatedly, yes.
He said he wouldn't.
I know, a couple times, but it's pre-November 5th. Post-November 5th, remember, he loves his son, and he's going to protect him. And he's either going to commute the sentence or pardon him. But I think that's highly likely.
Hey, Mick, I got 10 seconds, but what do you make of Democrats sort of laying the groundwork today on Kushner?
I mean, it's par for the course in this day and age, isn't it? It surprised me it's taken them that long. By the way, I think they're right about Biden pardoning Hunter before he leaves office.
All right. Mick Mulvaney, I am going to bump you here for Bruce Springsteen, if you don't mind, but thanks for joining us, my man. Mick Mulvaney, former Trump White House Chief of Staff. Thank you, sir. Thank you to all of you for hanging out with me. Look at that. We've gotten to that point of the campaign. Live look in Georgia. Bruce Springsteen ahead of Barack Obama, Kamala Harris side by side. We showed you an hour's worth of Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, Chris Cuomo, 1 hour and 6 minutes from now. Welcome to the home stretch. The Hill. Back in a few.
The bells of freedom ringing.
And that is called live television, Leland Bitter. We thought we had Bruce Springsteen live.
Here I was sitting here thinking I was going to get Bruce Springsteen as a lead-in. Where's the encore? Come on.
One more. You want to start chanting one more song?
Yeah, one more song. What is so interesting to me is how all of a sudden Democrats, and we'll leave the picture up of that ahead of Barack Obama, are leaning so heavily into their surrogates, the entertainers, Beyonce coming. Kamala Harris is going to Texas, of all places, which is not a swing state. They are pulling her out of the swing states. The less exposure Kamala Harris gets, the better. And they view the more exposure, Barack Obama, Bruce Springsteen, Beyonce, whatever it is, the better for them.
We were just talking about this on the Hill with Bob Cusack, editor-in-chief of... You're exactly right. It's exactly what she's doing. Will it work? I don't know. We'll see in, 12, 13, 14 days. Does she need to just do the complete opposite?